Whenever we talk about voice leading, we are talking about two specific things. A vertical progression of individual melodic lines, and two, the horizontal interaction of these lines with one another. In each case, the voices exploit the shortest possible path to the next note. The voices can move in different ways. They can move in a parallel motion, and the voices move in the same direction following the same intervals. They can move in a similar motion, so voices move in the same direction, but within the voices we find different intervals. They can move in contrary motion. They can move in oblique motion, so one voice will stay on the same line while the other voices might go up or down. And then they can move basically in any kind of motion combined together. So this is what some theories call mixed motion. The safest motion in part writing for tonal music is the contrary motion and the oblique motion, because these two types of motion do not produce what at least musicians in the 18th century considered as a huge mistake: parallel fifths. What are these infamous parallel fifths, and why were they considered unacceptable during a specific period of music history? Parallel fifths occur when, in part writing, an interval of perfect fifth moves consecutively to another perfect fifth within the same pair of voices. Here, for example, the perfect fifth A, E moves up to another perfect fifth, E, B, and then back again to the same perfect fifth. This type of movement is allowed when one perfect fifth moves towards a diminished fifth. While these fifths are easy to spot because they are out there on the paper, parallel fifths can also be hidden or implied in the motion from a chord towards a perfect fifth. For example, we can see here how the first fifth is hidden in the transition from the first chord to the second chord. These types of hidden parallel fifths are allowed when the top voice moves by whole or half step. The only way to avoid parallel fifths is to check at all stages of part writing. So ask yourself these three main questions. 1. Are any parts moving in the same direction? 2. If any of these parts are moving in the same direction, are they moving by the same interval? And 3. Are there any fifths, and for what matters also unisons or octaves? What do you do if you have parallel fifths? The solution is very simple. If you have parallel fifths, you can change the spacing within the voices, use oblique and contrary motion. Is it a parallel fifth if I repeat the same fifth? No. Parallel fifths occur only with different consecutive perfect fifths, not with the same chord. What is wrong with parallel fifths? Parallel fifths are okay. Composers use parallel fifths at all times in various ways to embellish a melody or to highlight a bass line. In the past, parallel fifths interrupted the feeling of a balanced counterpoint. However, the first harmonies that people used in medieval times up to the 13th century moved pretty much strictly in parallel fifths. Later on, closer to Renaissance and Baroque, the rules of counterpoint started to settle, and fifths were considered unhappy for voice independence. And of course, there were many other historical and practical factors, for example, the singing ability of choirs, or extra musical forces in the society. An example was the Council of Trent, which in part decided that the music of people like Palestrina was too crowded, and the counterpoint was obscuring the text. Always keep in mind that in music theory, rules are always context related, and learning the rules of the past can only deepen our understanding of how music works. Thank you.